This is the big day, the Mod 2, the last part of the big boy licence. Sitting outside, just preparing myself for this next challenge, next test, and hopefully by the end of the day I'll be getting my insurance sorted out and my tax done and get ready to go on my own bike. Oh, happy days. This is where all the magic happens. This is the unit. Oh, I just passed my Mod 2. Great news. So that's me getting my big boy bike licence. So I'm just going to go and film a wee bit of the bike I'm on and all faithful. The Suzuki 650 SV. And this is a bad boy there. The Suzuki. This is a magic moment. The day I finally got the licence, so thank you Suzuki. So part 3, and this is about the I am not a loser, and the context of this is I've passed my test. So through all the initiation, the testing, got to this, you know, the Mod 2, passed it, and then as I'm walking out the centre, the motorbike training centre, I had this vision in my head of this film, a clip for a film that John Eldridge introduced me to, and the clip is from the Disney movie The Kid. And here the context is, you know, there's a scene that he's shouting, "I am not a loser" at the end of the movie.
Look at us go.
Yeah, look at us go.
When he's fulfilling this unused potential that was in him. So setting the scene for where that came from was, he was a 40-year-old, just like me, you know, image consultant who was basically working, trying to make people look good on the outside who weren't good on the inside. And he gets a confrontation with his 8-year-old self. So his 8-year-old self comes on the scene, and this guy, Russell Dirritz, who's played by Bruce Willis, is saying, "I don't want anything to do with you, I'm rejecting you, I'm trying to get rid of you." He doesn't want to face his old self. And this fascinating encounter in this movie, his younger self is then in his house with him saying, "Where's the wife of the house? Where's the lady of the house?" "Sorry, I'm not married." He's like, "Ah, what? You've got a dog, but you're not married, you've got a dog. I mean, I've gone to grow up and have this world's greatest dog called Chester." "Nah, son, no dog." "What about this? A truck, a 4x4? No 4x4 either. I'd grow up to be a pilot, but don't I?" And you know the pattern here. And he says, "No, I'm not a pilot either." And he goes, "I grew up to be a loser." You know, and what he's communicating is all the things that he wanted as a child, he didn't receive, he didn't grow up into. And I'm going, what is that all about? I'm a loser. And so, and this beautiful thing happens in this movie where this young self confronts his older self with why he's no moved on and actually fulfilled his potential and became and accomplished the things he wanted as a boy. And basically what happens is the past gets reconciled, he resolves it by confronting it, his present gets made some amends in it, and then his future, everything changes. So I'm sitting, as I come out that, you know, that test, and I've passed, and the scene is this, the when he has faced his past and he's shouting, "I am not a loser." You know, he goes on to get the wife, get the dog, get the truck, and he becomes a pilot. You know, and so there's this beautiful scene, and to me it was like this was playing out in my life. This movie was actually happening through me as I passed this test, because I was actually accomplishing something that because of the things that were stunting me and making me just live in a wee safe bubble for years. So that's the story, and so I've got somebody to join us today and to share a wee bit more. He's like an Obi-Wan Kenobi type Jedi master. He doesn't have a clue what I'm talking about, but he's been supporting and fighting for men's hearts for years. So I want to ask him, how's this played out? How have you seen this played out in people's lives? That their opportunities, they can't grasp them because of the uncertainty within them and the issues that continue to play out their lives. So we'll go and find them. So, Vince, thanks for taking the time to share with us.
You're very welcome, Derek.
Yeah, always a pleasure. So, you know, the kind of scene here is you've received as much for that movie, you know, and been blessed by it when we went to America, and then how that's impacted all these other men we've taken through these things. But, you know, how it's played out specifically in our journey here, and how significant it's been. You know, I just wanted to hear your reaction to, you know, how you've seen that play out in people's life. That story where that he is confronted his past. He's shouting, "I'm no longer a loser." He's there's things changing. How have you seen that playing out for the negative or the positive? Some folk not getting it. How you seen it play out in people's lives?
I have to go back a long way there, Derek, because I've been involved in men's ministries for 40 years. And one of my early observations was in the church setting or various other ministry settings, we never seem to quite get to the point where we're addressing the issues that hold men back. And I've met many men over the years, often many of them very gifted men, but they never seem to reach their full potential because those issues in their past have never had a chance to be unearthed.
Yeah.
To be exposed to the light. But I would say on this is partly that is to do with church setup, but it's partly to do with, because some guys will enter in if they get an opportunity, a safe place to share openly maybe with other men, and it bears great fruit. Other men, when they sense they're going to be exposed, they run, they're scared.
Yeah.
And you know, you and I can both understand that, how that feels, because sharing at that kind of level where those things that you've maybe hidden or are ashamed of, you don't really want them to be exposed. And it takes a special kind of environment to address those things.
Definitely. You know, another thing was the friend that I met who was communicating and expressing his frustration that the opportunities were before him. He couldn't jump at them because of the uncertainty within him.
Yeah.
I mean, how is that, like, you know, the frustration of being unable, because you're uninitiated, you're undeveloped in parts of your life, that you're not being the dad, you're not taking you're not relating the way you'd love to relate, and or you know, taking use of opportunities that you feel that you just want to do. You know, how's that? You know, how's that played out?
Once again, over many years and many observations, there's 100 different reasons why that occurs and why men find themselves in places like that. And it can be, you know, they've experienced rejection, or they've been humiliated, or they've been abused. I mean, there's a big issue there in itself that the church has not been great at addressing these issues. And the reality is, if you've got a congregation of 200 people, there's a good chance that a number of them, into the tens, have suffered abuse. And on one example I can give you this, I held a men's meeting on a Saturday morning, early in the morning, so family time was never affected. So at 7 o'clock in the morning, the guys would come in, have some breakfast, and we'd share together, pray together. And there were about 50 guys. And this one particular day, the way that God moved in the place, this whole issue of abuse came up. 50 men, 7 of those men came forward that day for help because they'd been abused. So, you know, there's a real problem, but there's a real opportunity that if an environment can be provided for men to openly and safely discuss these things with other men without any judgment, then that potential that we spoke about earlier, Derek, you can see it released. And I've watched that happening. You and I know very recently, one of the guys shared about being sexually abused when he was young. And that man carried that for the best part of 50 years. That's how he saw life. That prism dictated how his life was. It dictated how he was as a dad, as a father, as a husband, as a friend, as a ministry guy, because that's how he saw life, through that prism of abuse. Now, it could be easy other things. It could be a variety of things. But for him, and I was privileged to watch him go through this. When I say I'm privileged, I'm saying privileged coming out of that and coming into all that God had for him. And he's like a new man. So, you know, my heart, my passion is to see men becoming free so they can be all they can be, the best dads, the best fathers, you know, the best husbands, the best friend.
And I think for us, the full journey here is actually demonstrating that this fathered by God journey has been, we've all had fathers, and we've had some who are good fathers, and they had strengths, they had weaknesses, you know, but it's like, you know, we're all still needing fathered. We're still needing initiated and trained and developed in certain untouched areas of our lives. And I think for us, this process, whether it's abuse, whether it's like Russell did it, he had been, you know, he'd been so hardened by what happened to his dad, the blame that was put on him, the shame that was put on him. So his heart became hard, and it meant that he didn't dream, he didn't live from this place of what my core desires were. And you know, for us, it's been like, well, the fathering process is to bring out the things and make us free to be all that God had intended us to be, you know, and wired us up to be, you know. So that scene was so significant that actually you're getting the chance to be freed to go and try new things, go and develop, go and live, you know, live your dreams. You know, instead of being stuck in this wee safe bubble, this wee safe, cautious world, risk-free world, because you're scared because of the failure that's been pronounced over you, or the shame, or the messages of what all these things that's happened to us resulted in. You know, so what would you say about just, you know, about the you know, to encourage guys about the father, to be fathered, to invite God to father them?
I think you touched on something there with that whole story, and that is identity. Because Russell had an identity that he had forged for himself to survive. It was completely fake, and it was not bringing him happiness. He was the most successful, unhappy person that you could have possibly come across. So for men to come to a place where that can be all removed and they can find out who their true identity is, and this is where you and I have been involved over the last year and a half with the Father by God group. And that, what that does is that it looks at our old identity, yours, mine, the guys that are doing the course, doing the time with, and they look and they identify, this is what I believe about myself. Is this the truth, or is this some lie that we've picked up? Is this the truth? Is this somebody else's truth about me? And is this the final, what's the word you use, the final, you use this word a lot.
Verdict.
Verdict. Verdict. Because a lot of us feel there's a verdict on us. You know, is this the final, is this what I truly am? And it's not till we understand who God, our Father in heaven, who is perfect. None of our earthly fathers have been perfect. They might have been good, they might have been mediocre, they might have been terrible. But our Father in heaven is perfect. So what he says about us is the truth. But many of us don't hear that. We don't hear that. We're maybe brought up, as I was, brought up with Father God who was the judge. He was a fearsome character up there somewhere. And he was waiting round a corner for me to do something wrong and jump on me and give me a hard time. I had to relearn Father. I think all of us have had to do that. So in the relearning of Father, we discover we have a generous, loving, accepting, faithful, encouraging Father who thinks we are the best thing that he ever created. And if we can truly get a hold of that, and it's a hard one when you've been brought up in religious circles even, or even not, that you can truly grasp, hang on here, am I truly a son of God? Am I truly loved by God? Am I truly accepted by God? No matter my past, no matter my mistakes, no matter how many times I've been humiliated, abused or rejected, how many broken relationships I've had, if I've been in addiction, if I've been a drunk, none of that matters because God accepts us right the way we are. But guess what, Derek? He doesn't leave us there. He wants to bring us in like this prodigal son coming back. He sees his son coming from afar. He doesn't stand there waiting patiently with judgment in his eyes. No. He goes towards his son. It's the most joyous thing for him to see this son who was lost coming back and being found. And this process of Father be God is about being found and discovering who we truly are.
And that we are not a loser.
Absolutely.
This has been my journey of initiation. The dictionary says that a journey is something that suggests travel from one place to another. I started this journey with my friends, inviting God to father me in those unfinished, uninitiated, undeveloped places within my soul. So the question is, have I moved from one place to another? I feel different. I feel initiated in areas where before I was uncertain, I was insecure, and in some ways paralysed, unable to act and initiate the changes required or to make things happen that only I could. This journey has been a joy that's helped me step out of the comfortable, step out of what I can handle into the unknown, to be tested, to experience failure, but to find that reinforcement of that truth that failure isn't final. That these are opportunities for growth and learning, not to become more paralysed and defined by them. And also for these rifts in the soul, in the undeveloped wounded places, to be released, to be no longer confined and limited by those things, like Russell from the movie, not to be a loser, but to be released to fulfil the God-given dreams and potential that He's placed in my heart. So what's my hope for this series? I hope we've inspired you. I hope that wherever you are in the world, that your heart's been opened and wooed and attracted to say, I want to go on a journey of initiation. I want to have the courage to say, God, can you father me? And lead me to a life that's rooted in genuine strength. A life that's rooted in genuine confidence and genuine security. So guys, thanks for sharing this journey with us. I hope you've enjoyed it. Until next time, God bless you.